Biden White House says the U.S. will approach China with strategic patience after President Xi Jinping called for increased global cooperation on Monday. The White House says Beijing has engaged in conduct that hurts American workers. President Biden believes the U.S. needs to hold China accountable for unfair and illegal practices, especially in the field of technology. CNN's Selena Wang has more.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly
The U.S.-China technology war likely won't end under a Biden presidency. Biden may take a more nuanced approach than Trump to diplomacy, but the tech rivalry will likely intensify. Concerns over how Chinese-made technology can be weaponized for surveillance and hacking. Plus allegations that Beijing steals American tech may persist. So will the battle for supremacy in 5G, quantum computing, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and space.
China is our most serious global competitor, and this competition is going to be one of the central challenges of this century.
Trump set into motion the decoupling of the two economies, slapping tariffs on Chinese products, blacklisting top tech companies, banning popular Chinese apps. In his final weeks in office, Trump attempted to cement his tough on China legacy. He signed an executive order banning transactions with 8 Chinese apps, including fintech giant Ant Group's Alipay and Tencent's WeChat Pay. He slapped restrictions on China's smartphone maker Xiaomi and a top chip maker, cutting them off from U.S. suppliers. He also barred investment in Chinese businesses with alleged military ties.
We may be banning TikTok.
Yet it's unclear if these orders will be implemented. His previous efforts to ban TikTok and WeChat have been halted by legal challenges in U.S. courts. Experts say Biden may reverse some of Trump's most recent actions against Chinese tech, but the key difference in Biden's approach will be his multilateral strategy and investments at home. Biden's campaign included a $300 billion investment in technologies like artificial intelligence, electric vehicles, and 5G. Gone are the days of Trump's unilateral brinkmanship.
We may see a refined, modified approach to protecting America's technology crown jewels, in particular, greater expansion of coordination, collaboration with our allies in Europe and Asia who face the same types of challenges with China in technology.
Trump's attempts to cut off China's tech giants showed Beijing how vulnerable it is to the U.S. Regardless of Biden's approach, China is doubling down on its strategy to become a self-reliant technological power. It's clear that this tech Cold War is here to stay, a costly battle for both sides of the Pacific. Selena Wang, CNN, Tokyo.
And then on the Chinese, I know there was some reporting, perhaps from your outlet, of course, this morning on that particular issue. As we've noted in here previously, there are a number of reviews, complex reviews, interagency reviews, I should say, that we're going to undertake as it relates to a range of our, let me start again here. A range of regulatory actions and a range of relationships with companies as it relates to Chinese investment and other issues as well. Those complex reviews are just starting, and as I noted, they will need to go through the interagency. So the State Department, the Treasury Department, a number of others who will review how we move forward. We're starting from an approach of patience as it relates to our relationship with China. So that means we're going to have consultations with our allies. We're going to have consultations with Democrats and Republicans, and we're going to allow the interagency process to work its way through to review and assess how we should move forward with our relationship.
Is it possible that those reviews could lead to a change in this delisting process down the road?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of any review, but certainly we're taking an overarching look at all of it, and as we have more to report, we'll report back to you.
Finally, can I just ask broadly what the president believes President Trump's legacy is with regards to China, in particular around the tariffs he imposed? Does President Biden like those tariffs? They remain in place on quite a large sum of Chinese goods. Is that under review at all, or are those appropriate at this time?
Well, as is the case with other areas of our relationship with China, He will take a multilateral approach to engaging with China, and that includes evaluating the tariffs currently in place. And he wants to ensure that we take any steps in coordination with our allies and partners, and with Democrats and Republicans in Congress as well. So nothing to report at this point in time, but we're committed to, the president is committed to stopping China's economic abuses on many fronts, and the most effective way to do that is through working in concert with our allies and partners to do exactly that. Go ahead.
I wanted to follow up a little bit on some of the China issues. I know that there was an executive order requiring the sale of TikTok's U.S. business, and I wondered if there were plans to revoke it or enforce it, or what is the current thinking on that matter?
It's a great question. I haven't had the opportunity to speak with our national security team about it. Happy to take it and see if we can get to you something more specific. Go ahead.
Hi, another one on China. China's Xi Jinping spoke earlier today. I'm wondering if there's any official White House reaction to his comments. He talked about unity as well, and also talked about cooperation on coronavirus and other issues. Is that kind of statement today likely to change or affect the stance that the U.S., that the Biden administration has toward China on trade and technology?
No. I think our approach to China remains what it has been since for the last months, if not longer. We're in a serious competition with China. Strategic competition with China is a defining feature of the 21st century. China is engaged in conduct that it hurts American workers, blunts our technological edge, and threatens our alliances and our influence in international organizations. What we've seen over the last few years is that China is growing more authoritarian at home and more assertive abroad, and Beijing is now challenging our security, prosperity, and values in significant ways that require a new U.S. approach. And this is one of the reasons, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, that we want to approach this with some strategic patience, and we want to conduct reviews internally through our interagency, even though I stumbled over that. I needed a little more coffee before I came out here, I guess. We wanted to engage more with Republicans and Democrats in Congress to discuss the path forward. And most importantly, we want to discuss this with our allies. So no, the comments don't change anything. We believe that this moment requires a strategic and a new approach forward. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hopefully, I haven't answered your question this time. I'm sorry. We'll go to you next.
I was going to pile on a little more on China while we're on this topic, but I wondered, Huawei's been on the entity list for like 2 years now. Just before the Trump administration left office, they initiated a new policy to basically revoke and issue intents to deny licenses for even more innocuous items that U.S. companies were selling to Huawei. Does the Biden administration plan to keep Huawei on the entity list and continue to enforce this much more stringent blanket ban on U.S. goods sales to China, to Huawei?
Well, technology, as I just noted, is, of course, at the center of the U.S.-China competition. China's been willing to do whatever it takes to gain a technological advantage, stealing intellectual property, engaging in industrial espionage, and forcing technology transfer. Our view, the president's view, is we need to play a better defense, which must include holding China accountable for its unfair and illegal practices and making sure that American technologies aren't facilitating China's military buildup. So he's firmly committed to making sure that Chinese companies cannot misappropriate and misuse American data. And we need a comprehensive strategy, as I've said, and a more systematic approach that actually addresses the full range of these issues. So there is, again, an ongoing review of a range of these issues. We want to look at them carefully, and we'll be committed to approaching them through the lens of ensuring we're protecting U.S. data and America's technological edge. I don't have more for you on it. As we do, we're happy to share that with all of you.